Knicks going for 3 in a row. Wasn't going to be a cakewalk whatsoever. And you know what? This game certainly started off that way as the Knicks had it clicking on all cylinders. Offensively, defensively, they brought the effort and intensity. The return of Julius Randle, we will talk about that. But in the second half, Pistons came back. They charged back a 32-point third quarter, had the Knicks on their heels, and we would have a dogfight in the fourth quarter. Well, once again, solid play by Emmanuel Quickley, some timely buckets by R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, and a clutch offense and defensive play by Mr. Fourth Quarter, Alec Burks, to seal this thing 104-102. You know, let's start it off with the return of Julius Randle, whose return drew a lot of angst amongst the fan base. We were going at it, the Hatfields and the McCoys, after an outstanding win over the Miami Heat. Julius came back in, and look, I thought we got back to a much slower pace, more iso ball, lackluster offense, very little flow in the game, especially started off. Julius finished with 20 points, 7 boards, 5 dimes, 2 steals on 7 of 18 shooting. And I thought it got us in trouble, especially in the second half, because, you know, when we came out gangbusters in the first half, we've seen this story before. You know, Knicks come out with energy. They come out with more chemistry, especially in the first half. You had Obi and Quickly running and gunning in the second quarter, really pushing the pace for us and playing well on both ends. So you wanted to see what was going to happen in the second half and how the Knicks would respond to the Pistons coming with more energy, more pride, and playing harder on the defensive end. And the third quarter, we wilted. I thought RJ, despite not having a good shooting night, I thought his drives were very effective on his drives. He was finishing both hands, showing that ambidexterity, using his body very well. Now, he didn't have it going in the three-pointers and the mid-range. You know, 7 of 18 wasn't the most efficient night, but I thought RJ was still effective.
Going into this game, I knew it was going to be a little tough for this team. First thing I noted to myself is that once Julius Randle came back, I was looking to see how the first unit would be playing, because you know, the offense has been moving at a faster pace. The ball has been moving a lot more freely. There hasn't been a lot of isolation plays when he's been out of the lineup. And when he came back, you started to see that he was making there was a point to make sure he was getting his touches, and it was going back to ISO Randle, trying to get that two-play between him and Evan Fournier, you know, the two-man game. And it's not crisp, it's not smooth. We've seen that all season, but these guys battled Julius for, even though he didn't have a good shooting night, he did play with intensity for most of the game. You know, there were times he was getting caught sleeping on defense, as you saw with the Marvin Bagley.
Bagley was going through that, man, all night. Bagley was destroying Julius all night, man, all night. Let's keep it a buck.
Absolutely. No, he was. And just shout out to Bagley, too. He's been playing a lot better since he's been in Detroit, too.
Yeah.
You know?
Change of season is certainly helping him.
For sure. But outside of that, you know, like I said, this game was going to be easy. The Pistons have only lost by 6 points at max in the last 9 games. All right. And they've beaten the Hawks by 21 points. They beat the Magic by 14. And within that time of stretch where they lost by no more than 6 points to the Miami Heat, the LA Clippers, the Cleveland Cavaliers. So this team has a lot of pride, as you pointed out earlier. This team is tough and gritty. We saw that today. It was not going to be an easy matchup for anyone. These guys have a lot of length. They're big. When you have Marvin Bagley and Isaiah Stewart in the paint, you see it wasn't really a good day for Mitch. Mitch was still active on the boards, as well as Jericho Sims, but you saw that the centers really couldn't get involved to the standpoint where anyone can get a lot of points between him and Jericho. But you saw RJ, Randle continuing getting downhill, trying to draw the fouls. Both of them were getting to the line a good amount, which kept this team in this game. You had RJ going 6 of 7 from the free throw line. You wish Randle could have gotten more than just 50%, went 4 of 8, but that's the way that this team kept it in. But Emmanuel Quickley, once again.
Right now, you know, I said it on Twitter yesterday. I said, look, I'd always been advocating for Quick to start, especially over Burks. I just felt like it made the most sense. And when we're talking about evaluating our players and seeing what they have long term, I'd like to see him with RJ and Julius. But I kind of understand, with no Rose off the bench, again, you need that lightning rod. And it seems like Quickly's now kind of taking over for Rose in that regard, where he's running that second unit and running it very well. And then he's closing, close the game out again tonight. Close it out against Miami. Quick he's being utilized in a multitude of ways. And he's just absolutely terrific. Once again, 18 points for Quick, 6 boards, 3 dimes for him. And you even saw there was a sequence during the second quarter where you saw Quickly with the tablet, going through some plays with Sims, McBride, Obi, going over some plays with him. No Grimes today, out with knee soreness on the right knee. We've been saying he hasn't really looked great moving with the leg. Obviously not a specialist myself, but just didn't seem like he's been moving too well on it. They rested him today with a sore right knee. So, McBride, Obi, Sims Quickly had to account for a lot of the bench production. And even though, you got his 17 minutes, I thought Obi was very efficient in those minutes and very effective. I thought he was solid on both ends of the floor today, giving the bench unit a much-needed spark, giving them that energy, especially in the second quarter, getting out like a speed demon in transition, man.
Roster construction and how it has really played into this season and how it will look like in the next season. Because I don't think the front office takes enough responsibility. Leon Rose has been very, very quiet. I don't know. I'm in Australia, so I don't know if you guys are hearing things, but I don't hear nothing. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be the key to the success of the team. I think firing Thibs next season, I don't think it's a low probability. I think it'll be the season afterwards if he doesn't sort of get a team that is built. I mean, that's been sort of like, I think one of his press conferences, he did say that. He was, I don't have a point guard. Mm-hmm. But once he gets all the tools and all the pieces, if there is no success and it continues, I can definitely see him out.
Yes.
But what is the roster composition going to look like next year?
Randle absolutely has to go. After watching today's game, just seeing just how slow the offense is and how stagnant it becomes with Randle on the floor, he has to go, man. It is obvious. And I might get a lot of tomatoes for this, but I think Tibbs should come back next season because if we have a fully young team with our rookies and second-year players as well as, Cam Reddish, I think people wouldn't be that mad at Tibbs as they would have been this past season. I'm not going to defend Tibbs for some of the boneheaded plays that he's called out or coaching substitutions that he's done all season. But I think that if Tibbs was playing our young cats more, people wouldn't be that mad at him to begin with. So just let me know you guys' thoughts on keeping Tibbs, and if we have a fully young team, how will the fans, view him?